Welcome to Bear With Us, the podcast where two women bravely explore the High Line.
One charming town and quirky event at a time.
We're here for the people, the stories, and the small moments that make this place special.
And don't worry, zero bears.
Probably. Hey there, and welcome back to Bear With Us, the podcast from Bear Paw Development where we chat with the folks making things happen across our corner of Montana. I'm Julia.
And I'm Sarah. Today we've got a great guest with us, Joette Woods, who wears a couple of important hats as Liberty County Commissioner and the president of the Montana Association of Counties. We're going to talk about what it's really like to serve in local government, some of the big picture work happening statewide, and why rural counties matter.
Joette, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We're really looking forward to this conversation. And to start with, we have a fun question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather wrestle a bear-sized squirrel or 100 squirrel-sized bears?
I think 100 squirrel-sized bears.
They'd be so cute.
You could kick them. You could kick them out of the way a little easier.
I have 5 kids, so I'm good at this. I
Yeah,
could probably wrestle them.
That's fair.
Totally fair.
So to start out with, let's just get to know you a little bit. So where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
I grew up in Sunburst, Montana, so North Toole County High School, go Refiners. I'll always wear that shirt. Childhood lived in a town, just a rural little town along the interstate, close to Canada. Just, going to the pool and playing hacky sack and just doing all of the sports and anything that small towns entailed. So
How did you end up in Liberty County?
I married, my husband is from Chester, Montana. So
Isn't that how we all end up?
yeah, so I met him in college in 95, 96-ish. And that's just kind of where all that started. And we ended up getting married in 1997 and moved away for a little while to Nebraska. He worked for General Electric on the railroad, and then oil and gas wells brought us back to Montana, and that's where we've been ever since.
Love that.
Now, I don't know if you know, but Bear With Us is a bit divided when it comes to the Montana universities here. It's a hot topic question. Where'd you go?
I actually came here to Northern.
Oh, okay.
You know what? That is technically in
Ugh.
Bobcat territory,
All
so
right.
I win this one.
You can be a Grizz, though. It's okay.
I actually am kind of a Grizz girl,
How
but you
dare
know what?
you.
Depending on which team goes to the final game, I will cheer them on because I'm really proud of Montana and both of their teams. So.
Absolutely.
That's
Up with
fair.
Montana. So who or what were your early influences growing up in Toole County?
I would say some of my teachers taught me, leadership and, common sense and things that you need to survive in the real world. Of course, my parents were huge part of my life, both of them. But we, you have those people in your life that kind of make a mark, and you remember some advice and you go along with it. And they're the people that always encouraged you and cheered you on. So
And what did you envision yourself doing growing up? What did you want to be when you grew up?
when I was really young, I wanted to be a school teacher, and I wanted to go to UCLA and play basketball and become a school teacher. And, small towns and life, I decided maybe in high school, after babysitting a lot, I decided maybe teaching was not what I wanted to do. Actually,
That'll do it.
I kind of thought that maybe the medical world. So I came here to do nursing. I didn't finish that. I did get my general studies, but I ended up getting married and having my own family. So I just never really pursued that again. I did go into first responder and bridged up to EMT. So I did that for 18 years.
Oh, wow.
So
That's a tough job.
Did
very
you do
hard job.
that in Liberty County?
I did.
Was it through the medical center there? It's Logan Health now, but I know it used to be
No, our
independent.
local volunteer ambulance director at the time was Yvonne Honeywell, and she would, kind of put it out there that she was having these classes and you could sign up for it, pay a small fee, and get your, certificate and your license. And so that's what I did.
Very cool.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And how did that lead you to become a county commissioner?
I don't know if that played a huge part in becoming a county commissioner. I kind of decided to step up. I was always really involved in community. So I guess a little bit that did. You serve your community, whether that's on EMS or the local blood drive, or the summer fair, or stuff going on at school. And at the time that I thought about being commissioner, Russ Temple was the commissioner. He's now a senator. He was stepping down from commissioner, letting go of that. Didn't know he was going to pursue senator, but I had a few people just say, "Hey, you know what? You should run for commissioner." And I thought, well, I could step up from community to county level and just see what that's like and see if I can leave things better than I found it. So that's kind of my end game.
So how long have you been in the county commission?
This is my 8th year. Yep,
Wow.
January I'll start my 9th year.
And
So
there's 6-year terms.
they're 6 years terms. So 2 years into my second term, excuse me.
That's amazing. So what does a day in a life of a commissioner look like?
Oh boy, that's kind of a loaded question. We have an agenda, obviously, and so there's things that you have to accomplish on your days in office, but you don't know what's going to walk through the door. And I laugh a little bit because you have all these advice from other commissioners, and some will say, some of the stuff that comes before you has nothing to do with the commission. They just want you to solve a problem. They want you to fix it. So as long as we can give them a direction or a number to call or an email or a contact, then we've kind of, got them going down the right path as far as that goes. But the other side of it is, budgeting for the county, hiring, HR, managing the whole county as executives. So it's a lot. Every day is a lot.
That is a lot. I feel like working in public service and working with the county commissioners here in Hill County and in our 5-county region, I've noticed a lot of residents of our communities don't really know what commissioners actually do. I feel like maybe they think they do the budget and that's it, but it's a huge job. Are there any qualifications that you feel people should have going into county commission?
A lot of it's common sense. And you have people who are geared with numbers and they like to do the finances and the budgeting. And you have people who are geared more policy driven. So if you can get a combination of people who like both of those things, I think they would make a really great county commissioner.
What are some priorities in Liberty County right now? What are you guys really focusing on?
We're focusing on just trying to stay within the budget that we have. And I say that because we don't have a lot of new things coming to Liberty County, like new taxable value monies and stuff like that. So we have to continue to keep the employees that we have, maintain the roads that we have, and anything else that might come up with the budget that we have. And so that's always a challenge to say, hey, the supply and demand is way different than it was even 5 years ago, but we have to live within this. So what do we cut? Where do we cut? Do we not fix this road? Do we not replace that culvert? Do we not, whatever that looks like that year?
Roads seem to be across the board in rural Montana just one of those hot issues that it's always going to be a thing. And part of that is, I mean, Liberty County is on our eastern edge of the 5-county district that we serve. And you guys are not densely populated by
No.
any means.
Nope, we are not.
You have one incorporated town, correct?
I'm sorry.
You have one incorporated town?
We have an unincorporated town, Joplin, and then, of course, Lothair isn't really, I mean, there's just a few houses there, but I don't know if it's considered a town or not per se, but we oversee both of those, yeah.
And then Chester as well.
Chester has a mayor
Yep.
and its own, governing body as far as that goes, so yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head how many square miles Liberty County has?
I should, and I don't have that number grilled into me.
I should too. I maintain all of our census information for
Yeah.
our area, so I know our whole area, but I should know each
I know I've been asked that, and I had an answer, but I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot remember
The
that.
reason I bring it up is because quite a few of our counties are so very large, but that doesn't mean that they are densely populated. So you still have so many roads, so much area to take care of, but your budget ends up being so much smaller. How do you prioritize projects?
Well, the way we have been doing it in Liberty County for roads is we have priority roads. So those are your main arteries through Liberty County. So your bus routes would be number one, mail. EMS, we want people to be able to get to a scene, or law enforcement, or whatever that looks like. So we kind of keep those big roads in mind. And then, like a lot of our east-west roads, we say, they're second, after the bus routes. We try to maintain all the ones that are on our map, but at any given time, if we have to fix one, that's where we have to go with it. So it's not like right now we have any major priorities, just keeping them maintained right now. And it's been so dry, so we have a lot of tore up roads that we've been waiting for a little moisture to hit to get fixed. So
And just giving a little snapshot of Liberty County, what do you feel like makes that area unique?
I think the people there are really they're kind of go-getters. They always want to try to find something new, something to better the community, something to make the hospital better, the school better, or whatever that looks like. And I think that, and they come together like when people are at their worst. If there's a medical thing that comes up, or there's somebody struggling with you know a money issue or something like that, people come together and they make sure that that person's taken care of.
I absolutely love to hear all of Montana people talking about people, but mostly the northern Montana people. I love hearing about how wonderful they are because it's very, very true. And I feel like that comes with such good resilience. I love the northern Montana people.
And it really shows in a lot of, I mean, I love going to some of these smaller towns to the little events
Yes.
and like festivals and
Yeah.
things. What are some in Liberty County that people should keep an eye out for?
So always every year over Father's Day weekend is the Joplin Car Show and Art in the Park. So we have all kinds of different activities going on that day. If you want to play horseshoes, if you want to take in a car show, if you want your kids to, they do face painting. Like there's all kinds of activities for every age group. I think they do a fun run, which is pretty cool. And then in the fall we have the Harvest Festival coming up. So that'll be in September. I don't know the date off the top of my head for that, but also, where they have a street dance and they have fun games for Main Street and they have kid to adult things to do throughout the whole day. And they're always trying to come up with new ideas on how to better those and get more attendance and stuff. And they also have vendors set up. So a lot of vendors from the Highline come to both of those events. And it's just remarkable. The turnout's always really, really good. So
I live in Western Hill County and we go to Joplin every year that we're able to. And my daughter is just obsessed with getting her face painted like Spider-Man. She's done
every
it
kid
2
loves
years in
that.
a row now.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And it's such a great turnout of all of these small little towns along, and there's so many cars.
Yeah. There's some
So
pretty
many cool
cool
cars.
vehicles. Yeah. Very
I
nice.
love walking around and the weather's always super nice.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
try to make that trip too. I love it.
Good.
So, what are your favorite spots in Liberty County to unwind and enjoy nature?
Ooh, I love kayaking, so I'd say the Marias River is probably one of my very favorite places to
Both of
go.
us.
I love doing that too.
And of course, I live 30 miles north of town, so it's peaceful and it's quiet out there. So when you're done with the day and you're done, dealing with whatever you had that day, to go home and just enjoy the peace and quiet on your deck or whatever, I really like that too. So
How far away from the Sweetgrass Hills do you live?
I'm actually north of the Sweetgrass Hills a
Oh,
few miles. So
wow.
I am a little over 5 miles from the Canadian border, south of the Canadian
Wow.
border. So we're a ways out there.
So, for any of our non-Montana listeners, because of course everyone in Montana is so used to commuting, and that's just normal, you know, normal days. What does your commute look like every single day to get into Liberty County
Um,
Commissioner's office?
it's a 31-mile drive on gravel. So it's 62 miles for me round trip to go to town and back. Yeah.
I got you beat, but
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
I have paved highways.
Well, and so if I cut across over to the Joplin Oil, it's about 17 miles before I have pavement, but it adds that extra 10 miles on either way between the two towns. So, if it's really, really muddy and you're just going to tear up the roads, I try to go to the highway. And I'm also a commissioner who knows how expensive it is to fix all those tore up roads. So I always try to do a little justice there and take the highway if I can.
Yell at people for driving too
Yeah.
fast on the gravel roads or overloaded grain trucks.
Right. And you have that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's everywhere.
that's true. So part of being a county commissioner is you are very involved in the Montana Association of Counties. Can you give us a little background on it's called MACo. We're going to call it MACo for the rest of this because Montana Association of Counties is that's a
Kind
lot
of
of
a
words.
mouthful.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of words. Yeah, it is.
Can you give us a little rundown of what MACo is, what it does?
MACo is it's a service member organization. And so we provide different trainings to people as far as like budgeting, uh, policy review, HR. So any of those kind of things that your county might deal with, there's somebody in the MACo building that specializes in that. And that could be finances, that could be, whatever it is. And so they say, hey, you're going to connect with this person. And then they're like, hey, I'm going to talk you through how this should go. So yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
organization.
it's not so much like a regulatory organization as it is almost like a technical assistance or like a
Resource.
Yeah,
resource.
it's a definitely a resource. We also have newly elected officials training, which goes over all of those things from HR to budgeting to policy, all of that kind of stuff. So they put that on every December. So if you're a newly elected official and you're like, hey, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing or how to do it, or I need to learn more about this, you come to those conferences and they have it set up in different slots for you.
And thank goodness, I mean, for such a great resource because all of these elected officials, they don't necessarily have any kind of training.
There's not an
They're
onboarding for
no, yeah,
There's
years.
not. You're kind of just drinking out of a fire hose, I tell people.
Yeah.
and you're just coming from being a community member. Maybe you have a passion for community service, or maybe you just have some big projects that you want to get done, but otherwise, you probably have no idea what you're getting yourself into. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
No,
That's really
it's a great
nice.
resource.
And you have been the president of MACo for the past year, is that correct?
Yes, I will. Last September, I stepped into that role. It's a 4-year commitment, and so you start out as second vice president, and you're elected in all of these positions by the whole state of Montana, all of your commissioners. And then you roll up into first vice president. And then last year I became the president. And then this year I will hand the gavel over to Gordon Olkers from Roosevelt County. And then I'll be immediate past president. So you're still part of the executive committee for another year, even post president. So
Well, first of all, congratulations
thank
on that
you.
because I feel
Thank
like
you.
that is truly an honor.
I am truly honored. It's been a great year.
So, what have your main goals for the organization been? What have your big successes been over the last year?
I would say you travel, you do a lot of leadership, and so if I can represent Montana to the best of my ability and represent my fellow commissioners who put me in this position, then I've accomplished that's my success story. Uh, it was also a legislative year, so spent a lot of time in Helena. So yeah, and I think that we did well there.
So, you've done advocacy in the Montana legislature. Have you also had to do any reaching outside of the state? Do you work with any other? I guess are there other states that have these associations?
Yeah, almost every state, I believe, has some kind of association that they nominate a president. They oversee that whole state of elected officials. They go to national conventions. I've spent a lot of time in DC and I've been to Alaska and all of these places for leadership and you meet these leaders across the nation. It's just a phenomenal opportunity to better yourself and learn. If you're teachable, I think you would do really well in a position like that. And a lot of these people are there to learn and continue to grow and be successful that way.
And then there's a national association of counties as well.
Yes, NACo.
MACo.
Yep,
So you got MACo and NACO.
you do.
Don't get
Yes.
confused.
It won't be confusing at all. What are some issues you're noticing just across the board in Montana? Montana really is, I would say, one big small town. What are some common issues that you've noticed, even if just peripherally?
Off the top of my head, I know that there's been a water issue. We have the central water line that's still trying to come online, and we have the St. Mary's, water line. That's kind of been a hot topic. Of course, the farm bill is always a hot topic in Montana. We need insurance, and we like the programs that are involved in that, from SNAP and WIC and all of that. So we just try to keep those things moving. And yeah, I have people I can connect with. All of our Montana congressional delegates are very good about sending a person from their office, and they're very good about visiting with all the commissioners throughout the state and saying, "Hey, how can we do better? And what is your biggest pressing issue?" And we can tell Senator Daines or Congressman Zinke or whoever, and see if they can get on it and get something done about it. So we appreciate that they come and do that outreach for us because we're the boots on the ground saying, hey, this is our issues. They're in DC doing the best they can, and so they don't know all the little things. And the little things are important to rural communities because that's how we function. So
Absolutely. Do you feel like, since you've had the presidency with MACo, do you feel like the representation from the more rural counties like Liberty have been better addressed, better helped while you've had your time at MACo?
Not being forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. And I think that the next one coming in from Roosevelt County will feel that same way. We're both Highline. And we're never really forgotten. The good thing about MACo is if you're 500 people or you're 500,000 people, you get the same services. You get the same advice, you get the same treatment. There's never like anything that differs from that. So we've been very, very lucky with MACo that they just treat us all the same. So
That's so important, especially being a rural community, because I feel like us up here on the High Line, it is hard to get our voices heard, especially when we're quite a bit different, not only in the people that are here, but also in the landscape that's up here. And like you said, we're dealing with so many water issues. When there's not that many people being serviced by the water, while it's very important to us, it may not be as important at the state or federal level to those people because they're just looking at the numbers. So it really, really is so important to have the advocacy.
And I have been to a MACo conference. They are a good time, but so much networking. You all are just, yeah, it doesn't matter what county you're from, it doesn't matter what corner of the state you're from. It is just, it's like old friends getting together
it
and
is.
just spending a couple days together.
These are kind of your family away from home, and these are the people who you've learned from, who've encouraged you, who've mentored you, and you develop a relationship with these people that is lifelong. Like it's just one of those deep, deep friendships and deep, deep camaraderies, worth every minute because you can call any one of those commissioners and say, "Hey, I know your county just went through something like this or just dealt with this. How did you do it?" And they're going to say, "Hey, here's my contacts. Here's who we called. Here's how we did it." And it is a network. It's fantastic.
They serve prime rib, I swear, at every dinner. And
Yum.
I think I left that conference 3/4 prime rib. Like, I think at that point I was a cow. It was delicious, but oh man.
I
The
mean,
food is good.
that sounds pretty nice.
4 days in a row though was
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
rough.
that seems to be a lot.
Is there anybody specific that you have had to lean on or are just so thankful to have, whether at the state or national level, that has really been a good mentor, and advocate for you?
Yes, there's several people. One I will name. It was John Osland, who recently was killed in a plane crash in Yellowstone County. He was probably one of the first people that ever walked up to me in a room and said, "Hey, you look like a leader." And I thought, "Oh, you're kidding me because I just got here. I just have this little bag and this pen, and I just walked into this room." And he was one of the first people that made me feel welcome, encouraged me, mentored me. He actually, with a few others, kind of brought me to a place where I had that confidence to step into that role. So he was a huge asset to me.
and I heard so many good things about him. Just from I don't think anybody had a bad thing to say about him.
No, he's a legend. He's a legacy. He left a legacy for all of us. He left something for all of us to live by, follow, and he just makes you want to be a better person. That's what I would say.
I think everybody needs somebody like that in their professional journey.
Yeah. Well, and
It's so
especially
important.
even just to say, "Hey, you look like a leader." Sometimes that just gives you the confidence you need to go, "You know what? I am a leader. I'm going to take charge of this and I'm going to do the best I can."
Push that imposter syndrome behind. I
Yes.
don't need you.
Especially as women, I feel like, we tend to have a lot of imposter syndrome. Have you dealt with any of that in your role?
Um, Not really. The guys that I spend the most time with and girls, they're always like they just want you to be successful. One little piece of advice that I've always carried with me, and I can't remember now who told me it one of the first years I was in as a commissioner, and I think she's retired since then. She says, "You know what? Straighten another woman's crown without telling the whole world you did it." And I thought that's powerful. Like you can be that girl instead of this girl. And so I've kind of always lived by that rule. Silly, but it's one of my favorite pieces of advice. So
We all need to do that.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Lift each other up
Yep.
and make it
Be,
just
be happy for somebody else who's successful. Like, don't be bitter about it. Don't be mad. It wasn't you. Maybe it'll be you next time, whatever that looks like. But just encourage other women. And that's kind of how I do things.
And
So,
find their successes inspiring to
yeah,
drive you to do the
makes me
same,
want to be a better
yeah.
person. Like,
Yeah,
that's
don't let it discourage you from
Yeah.
trying harder
absolutely.
because I mean, one woman's success is all of our success.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, totally.
Such a girl power turn in our
girl
episode
power.
today. I'm here for it. So obviously being president of MACo does take some of your time. How are you balancing that with your responsibilities at home in Liberty County?
I have 2 really great commissioners that have filled any gaps that I have been absent for. Larry Hendrickson and Justin Wickham have really stepped up, and, they have been some of my biggest encouragers in this, and they're like, "No, this is huge for," like, we were talking about the High Line in Liberty County, like, "Go be that voice for us," and they've been nothing but behind me the whole time, and so that has been a godsend to have those guys in there saying, "This girl's doing this for us." So,
That is
it
amazing
is.
and very empowering. And I don't know, I mean, I've only been in you guys' office one time, but the camaraderie that you have is
Yeah.
very easily felt.
Yeah, and when I got in 8 years ago, that camaraderie was there. We had Maureen Wixon at the time, and it was just you just were in unity. You're a united front, and I ran into a very well-run county. They're frugal, they're good stewards of the money. They
That's hard
get
to
'em it is
do.
Yeah.
very hard to do, and so I just learned from a couple of the best, and so I was very fortunate to have that experience.
And I think what people don't realize is, you get elected to a county commissioner, but it's not one individual role. It's a board of commissions. So, it's three people, and in order to do things well, you've got to set the ego aside. That sometimes,
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
think we can all agree, sometimes ego comes hand in hand with politics.
Right.
But setting it aside and working together with your teammates. I mean, your fellow county commissioners are teammates to make the right decisions for the county.
And you have to do what's right for the people, for the majority of the people. You're not going to please everybody. Um, we joke about the 2/3 rule. So you have a third that care, a third that don't care, and a third that hate everything that you do. And as long as you have the 2/3, then you've accomplished your goal. So that's kind of it's an old rule, but it's been brought to my attention more than once. So sometimes you're just going to have to do what feels to some people they don't like it is wrong, but it's the right thing for the other 2/3 of the people
How
who
do you separate that when it comes to the one third that hates everything that you do? They
We
also tend to be the loudest. We
we
yeah,
call
call them,
them cave people.
yep,
sure.
They're citizens
citizens.
against virtually everything.
Yeah.
And whenever you're dealing with the public, they're gonna be there. It's
Yeah.
And they're
just
noisy. They're
Yeah.
very
That's the
noisy.
word we use is they're just noisy.
Yeah,
Um,
how do you separate that out to know that maybe they are not necessarily the two-thirds that you should be
they're not
listening to?
representative of the right decision.
Yeah.
I think that what you do in that situation, what we've always done is we just hear everybody. Whether we agree with you or we don't, we want you to come in and say, "I hate this because," or "Did you guys think of this before you put that into motion?" Like, so we just listen. And I think listening, they say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That's real. Like, so just listen to people, and you still don't have to fall into what their belief is on whatever you're dealing with, but at least hear them out because I think people just want to be heard and they want you to know that they're dissatisfied with whatever it is, whatever problem it is.
Sometimes that is the most you can do as a leader is just listen because sometimes you can't fix the problem. It will never get fixed.
Or you're just not gonna make everybody happy.
Right.
No.
But the cave people are still residents.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
They're people, they
taxpayers.
deserve a voice.
That's
I
right.
think everybody does
Absolutely.
deserve a voice.
Yeah.
So sometimes listening to them is just giving them that validation that they are being heard.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna make decisions that are gonna make the other two-thirds mad sometimes
You
too. So
you are. You just have to do what's right and what's in your budget. So
Yes.
there's those things. You have adaptive problems, which means that problem's something you can't solve, but you have to learn to adapt to it and figure out a way to get common ground you know, and then you have technical problems, which are solvable. If you have a grater blade break, well, you can replace that. But if you have people arguing over a fence in an unincorporated town, you can't fix that. You can mediate, and so there are ways to kind of you just whenever comes through the commission, you're like, okay, is this something I can actually solve, or is this something I just need to hear about and maybe try to find some common ground for these people? So
One of my favorite mottos to live by in life, but especially in the public service sector, is we do the best with the information we have,
facts and numbers are
and then we
huge.
we learn and we do better next time.
Yeah,
And that's all you
yeah.
can
If
do
you're gonna
sometimes.
fail forward and learn from it. And you can sit there and look in the mirror at the past, but then you can't see what's coming. So I try not to do that to him. Like, that happened. Let's walk away and move on, you
Yeah.
know?
Oops, try
Yeah.
again better.
Yep.
We're gonna do better.
We're
It's
gonna do
We're all
better.
okay.
figuring it out.
We all can do better. That's right.
So what would you say has been the most rewarding part about being a county commissioner?
Just putting yourself out there in the public and serving. Like, I am just kind of a servant by nature. I love to serve other people. And sometimes that's hurtful, and sometimes you get callous remarks and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's rewarding to know that you went in and at least tried to make a difference and tried to leave things better than you found it.
Yeah, that's all you can do sometimes, and put your head down on the pillow at night and know
Yeah.
that you had good intentions
You
and
did your best that day.
yeah.
Exactly. Is there anything about county government that you wish more people understood?
Yeah, property taxes probably, and how all of that works, and it is really hard to explain over a radio. So I would just encourage people to go in and talk to your commissioners, um, and ask them how it all works. A lot of it is broke out, and we can kind of tell you, hey, this is how much goes here, this is how much goes here, and this is why this isn't getting done because this teeny tiny amount is all we have for that. Like, so
I think
without those charts, it's
that's a
kind of hard to
great
explain.
point.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, not only with county, but in city government as well. People are always complaining, well, why can't this get fixed? Don't I pay taxes? What do you say to that?
We just try to show them, this amount is all we get, so in our county, you have, over 60% of the taxes collected go to the school, right? So that leaves a third for the whole county to run on. Some of that's road, in between 9 and 11%ish, somewhere in there. That's all the road budget is, right? And so I see that you pay your taxes, and that bought about 2 buckets of gravel, right? So, like, you go back to supply and demand. You can't always find the things you need to get the job done, or it's so expensive you have to wait for some more stuff to trickle in, whether that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Other monies, or, something like that, grant money sometimes.
Yeah, it's so difficult to explain that to people. And I wish people understood that as well because it is
And
very, very
it is
hard.
very complicated.
Very, and, just when you think you understand it, they have a legislative
Right.
year, and they kinda just, do other things with numbers, and you're, like, relearning some stuff, so
And I don't know if people know this, but most of our northern Montana taxes have not gone up in comparison to what like construction costs have gone up. Those have doubled in the last 4 years. And so we just can't do as much with the money that we have. So if you want things to change, vote for the levies. Vote
yeah.
for,
There are those people who want those special districts, special levies,
yeah.
and that's their right.
Yep.
They get
Yeah.
to go do that, so
And that's something we do at Bear Paw Development too, is try to help county governments and municipalities to find creative solutions for a lot of these projects. And I know we've had a few in Chester.
yep, you have.
I've got one.
It was a little before my time that a couple of them went through, but
Yeah, I've got a project that just dug up a parking lot in Main Street, so getting rid of some of that petroleum
yeah,
contamination.
okay. I saw them in town, so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure who they were digging up for, so
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So how has county government changed since you started in public service? You talked a little bit about, legislature convenes and then things change. And that's every 2 years here in Montana. So what are like the biggest changes that you've seen since you started?
I don't know if I can pick 2 of the biggest changes. It's just kind of little things here and there, from law enforcement to, property taxes to, employer rights. Like, those kind of things are huge, but they're not so big that they're state known. They're just stuff that go through that we have to go, now we have to either pick up the pieces or this works out really well. And so we have MACo also to say, can you dissect this bill for us and kind of put it in a nutshell what it means for us? And they're really good about doing that if we ask them to do that as well. So yeah, so I don't know if I can think of two major things off the top of my head, but I would say it's a lot of little things that kind of add up, and you just have to pick up the pieces sometimes and
That's fair.
do it.
Move forward.
Move forward.
Now, one of the things that I feel like none of us are particularly great at is really celebrating our successes. So we're going to give you a hot minute to pat yourself on the back.
I
we
don't think
want
I've
you
ever
to
patted myself
Toot
on the
your own
back.
horn
toot
here.
your own horn.
What do you feel like has been your biggest success since becoming county commissioner, president of MACo, what have you?
I would say just that I've had those people mentor me and say, "Hey, you're leadership material," and then being able to actually accomplish that role and step up into leadership, becoming chairs of committees that I never dreamt I would ever have that opportunity to do. And then I was just recently put on the board of directors on the national level. So the board of directors oversees all of the NACo along with executive committee. And although I wasn't there because of a family issue, they put me on anyway. And
Girl,
so,
that's not
Toot your
small.
horn.
yeah,
That is a good one.
so I am truly just blessed and honored to have people like that who believe in me and have got me to this place. And so yeah, I'm just going to continue to represent Montana the best I can and call that success.
And I think that's the best word for all of your accomplishments is representation. You know, you are present.
Yeah.
You're in the room where it's happening.
Well,
That's
and
huge.
one of the old sayings from another commissioner is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So have a voice, stand up, rise up, step out, and be a presence. And so that if I can do that on the national level as well, then this little tiny place called Montana is being heard. So,
And specifically Liberty County.
and
Wow,
specifically
that
Liberty
is
County, almost Canada,
amazing.
where I'm from.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So what advice would you give for, anybody up and coming in this kind of a sphere or realm? What advice would you give them?
Don't think, just do it. Don't think. If you've been thinking about it, just go do it. Like, especially a public service or community or county or state. If it's crossed your mind, don't think, just do.
Just dive in.
Dive in.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen, right?
I mean,
Someone
you're
tells you no?
someone
Oh
tells you
boy.
I say
no,
that all the
or
time. Like, what are they going to say? No? Okay. Well, I'm right back where I started.
and I don't feel like you get to decide failure. Success is what you make of it, obviously, but failure is there should be no such thing as that word, because really you're just learning, you're teachable, and you're gonna drop the ball and you just pick the next ball up and say, well, I'm not gonna do that again. I learned from that. So if you can learn from those mistakes, it's not failure.
And I feel like success really is built on how you handle the setbacks,
It really
how you
is.
handle the hiccups, and what you
Yeah.
make of them.
Because there are those. There's lots of hiccups
That's
and setbacks.
life. That's showbiz, kid. That's going to happen.
Also,
Absolutely.
I feel like sometimes, we think, oh, hey, I dropped the ball, but it didn't roll down the hill
No.
because your community, helped you push it back up there.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that's not a failure.
Right.
Sometimes we just need a little more help. Sometimes we just need to look at it from a different
Perspective.
direction.
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes we need to shake it off and get out of our head.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
I
I
really
would
like
agree with that. And you can just, there's a lot of things that can take up space between your ears, and you can beat yourself down and you can do that. I think we've all been in that place, but my advice going forward is don't let that stuff take up rent. Don't let it take up rent in your head, because it's just something small that you can get past and you can do better next time.
So on that same avenue, if you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice, if you could give 20-year-old Joette a piece of advice. I say 20 because I feel like I was a disaster at 20. She had her life figured out, but
Julia was married and having a baby.
I was a mess of a person. What would you give yourself?
I would just tell myself to not be afraid, because I think that fear holds a lot of people back. Um, yeah, don't do things afraid. Go do it. Just step out and go do it.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's really hard
It is very hard.
as a young person, and I feel like at any point in your life, change is scary, stepping up is scary. Just do it.
Yeah, just go in and
Someone's got to do it.
lace up
Yeah.
your boots and jump in. Yeah.
So what keeps you motivated to keep going?
I think every leadership role that I continue to fall into, whether that's a chair of a committee or executive committee, that keeps me motivated to say, hey, we're still at the table, right? We still have a voice. And so that's kind of what keeps me going as far as all the things that are shuffled at you on a daily basis. Like, well, I have avenues that I can go down now, and I have people I can connect with, even more people I can connect with, whether that's state or federal or some other state. So yeah, I think that just knowing that I have those resources out there, it's very easy to stay motivated. I'm not doing it by myself per se.
Absolutely. So, what about the long view? When you think about your legacy, what do you hope that not only the people in your community, the people in Montana, but I also know you have children, what do you hope that they remember about your leadership?
That's a good question too. I hope they know that I gave 110% and that my goal was not to be a superhero or not to pat myself on the back, but just to be able to serve others and lay your head down at night and just say, I did the best that I could today. I left things better than I found it. And I hope that they can learn from any of the failures that I've brought on. And off the top of my head, I can't think of a specific one, but public perception is important in this. And I would tell them, don't become a politician.
Go into public service.
Go into public service. Don't become a politician.
Yeah, if you let that ego take over,
Yeah, it's
that's where it
ugly.
gets dangerous.
And I never want to be in that position, ever. Leadership's one thing, bossing is a different game. So
So, what's next for you? Do you have any big goals, dreams? What do you have?
Any fun vacation plans?
yeah, no, I have harvest coming up.
Oh, that is the
big.
season.
I have my son's wedding coming up, and then I obviously have our fall MACo coming up, where I hand that gavel over to the next president, and you just hope in that crowd that you did what you had to and represented well. And so my goal is just to stay with what I'm doing and just continue to grow and learn and be better from it. So
Well, I think you've done a wonderful job. I know many, many people that have worked with you during your time at MACo and as a commissioner, and they have nothing but good things to say.
nice. Well, I appreciate
So,
that.
to any of our listeners, I hope you get to meet Joette.
Thank you.
Stop by Liberty County. We're so glad you came in today.
Go to the Harvest Festival.
Yes.
And mark your calendars next year for Joplin. It is a good time. It is a hoot and a half.
Thank you guys for having me today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll have any information linked out in this episode that we may need, any links or what have you. But other than that, mosey on down. Have a conversation with Joette at the courthouse.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Bear With Us, and join us again in 2 weeks for our next episode.